Okay, folks, welcome back. Episode 13 of Our Time Is Now. I have a extremely special guest for you today. I know I always say I have a special guest for you on the show today, but I really have an extremely special guest today. My grandma, my Fauna, right here where all the magic is made. When you see half of my shows and you go, wow, it's a very beautiful setting, you know where it's coming from. Grandma's house. But we're just going to jump right in, no introduction needed, none of that. And we're just going to start telling stories, having a good time. This is a New Year's show, so Happy New Year's to you.
Happy New Year to you too, sweetheart.
Wonderful.
I love you.
I love you too so much, Grandma. And we're just going to talk, have fun here. That's really what it's all about, is just having fun. And this is going to be one of my sort of PG-rated shows, or PG-13 maybe, I don't know, but it's definitely not R-rated. So we're just going to talk about a couple of stories and explain everything. And check out these fly sweaters, these fly matching sweaters we made. Who knitted these sweaters?
I did.
You did, right? I thought so.
I did, yes.
I'll tell you.
That was my hobby.
I've got a lot of compliments on this everywhere I went, from the bank when I was doing mortgages back in the day to at GIAC where I work now. People always complimented me on this and wonder where it went. And I said, you know what? You could get one made too. Custom orders at ronnieop@gmail.com or something like that.
I don't think I do too many of them anymore.
Not too many anymore, but you know what? I'm thankful for this. I've had this for close to 10 years now, and you even added an extension on the bottom.
You can't even wear them out,
Well, you've added an extension on them, and this is the warmest sweater. Like, I could go outside, shovel snow in this thing, and not freezing at all. I don't need my jacket. I just throw this thing on with the little puppy ears, and I'm ready to go.
They were famous many years ago. I still think they are. So.
And I mean, this is real, like, Norwegian yarn.
Yes, it is.
So I mean, this comes from Norway, and
I used to order it from Norway, and I used to order the buttons and everything else like that. That time the dollar was very high, so it was worth for me to get it from Norway.
Oh yeah, well they don't itch. That's the main thing.
No,
you buy sweaters in the store, and you're like itching. You're like, I'm itching. Like, I don't even have like an undershirt under here, and I'm not itching at all. I'm not like, I could sweat in it all day, but it just traps the heat, encapsulates the heat. I think that's the most important thing.
Yes.
I wanted to talk, and when I was here a couple weeks ago, I wanted to talk because we were telling stories around the fire. We had the movie night over by the fire, and the stories were just flowing, and I was like, save it for the podcast, save it for the podcast. So I wrote a couple of them down, and just an idea. I mean, I know you said you had a dream of Grandpa recently. Do you remember the dream? You want to recall on, like, what the dream was?
There's been many since he passed away.
Well, I'm saying since we spoke last weekend when you said you had one, I was like, hold it.
I know that was very hard because actually, to see him like in person sometimes, like it's like, oh, he's really there. Or it's like. My dream says that I am back in the old house, This is, of course, when there's always a lot of people around, which is very weird because I don't know all these people, And but then he'll come in, and I said, he can't be here. He's dead, And I said, what are we going to say to the other people, And like. Just
faces you've seen probably throughout life, renters that you've rented to,
Yeah, it could be. I mean, but
people that come and go, and they're just in your cortex.
Yes, it's got to be, But anyway, so he said, "Well, I'm here, What's your problem, Like, what do you have any problem with it? No.
Are you mad?
No.
You mad?
No. I said, just don't go away again.
Don't leave.
Is this going to happen again? So you're worried about it, but no. And of course, you wake up, and say, it was just a dream, Mm-hmm. But a few times, one thing that really got to me was I didn't get to say goodbye to him because he had passed away before I got to reach the hospital. Uh-huh. And when I came home, our life was very good. But he would be picking on me ever so often, And the first dream I had, he was sitting in the rocking chair. He always by the rocking chair by the glass sliding door.
I'm sure they've seen me in that rocking chair. I've done a podcast in that rocking chair.
And it was so real. I was lying on the sofa, and I saw him, and he was making a comment. And I'm saying, oh no, I said, you're dead and you're still picking on me, and he disappeared. But then 2 days later on, he was back again, and he was in the same clothes as he had passed away. And I saw him, so it was really real. And he came right here, I had the sofa here and the table here, and he came up, and I hugged him, and he
felt real.
I felt that he was there, so I got to say my goodbye to him,
Yeah.
and after that, it was like I accepted it, but before that I couldn't accept it.
Yeah.
And it was like, because I was always like looking for closure.
Of course, that connection you never got.
No, yeah. So life goes on, and but his. The one dream I had was, actually, it wasn't really a dream, it was really real. We used to go up to Popham Beach in Maine. And after the first year when he passed away, I went back up there again, and I had part of his ashes with me, and I threw it in the ocean. And as I'm throwing it out, you see the ashes floating out there, and a wave comes in and right washes over my feet, and I said, you got me, didn't you? And I turn around, and he is walking up on that beach, and he turns around. He was younger looking, but it was him, like the way that we saw. It was his
Navy self.
Yes, and he had that Navy cap on, and he gave me a smile. So I felt that he said, thank you, I'm back to sea again, because he was a Navy man.
I remember he always said that too, like he wanted to be part in Norway on the island, and then he wanted to be part in Maine,
where he is too.
And then a little bit part at home too.
Yes,
and
yes.
he did that.
So
he made
I
that
have
happen.
him here, and I have him up in Popham Beach, and he is also on his favorite island.
My favorite island too.
Oh, absolutely.
Love
where my sister has a summer home there, and we went out there and had it ashes there, and that's where your father is also at the same place, So, yes, so he should be happy up there.
Oh, yeah. He's all over the world. He's traveling the world while in the afterlife.
Absolutely. And, but
I do believe in that, though, spiritual afterlife and things of that nature,
It has proven to you many times, like, he plays tricks on me still here.
He played a trick on us tonight.
Absolutely.
We're trying to fix your tablet. and I'm typing it, and it's I'm not even typing on the keyboard. I'm trying to work her Amazon Kindle, and I'm hitting the apps, and it's spelling out letters like A, C, E, F, K, and I'm like, I'm not even typing on the keyboard. But then I was trying to swipe down the menu, and it was like S, E, A, Sigmund Eugene Art, 4C, baby, 4C. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was 4C, and I'm like, Grandpa's playing a trick on us again.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, how many times, like, with electricity, I can't get the light to turn on or something like that, and it's like just driving me crazy.
Talk to him real quick.
Yes. And then the other, I would like, before it got frost, I wanted to plant some bulbs. So I'm out there in the garden, and I'm really digging in, because we have a lot of clay and stone in there, yes, you know. And I'm digging and digging and digging, because I wanted it in this space. And I'm digging the clay, and got the clay out and hit a rock. So I said, I can dig it more and more and more. And that rock gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm saying, oh no, I said, I want to have it there. And I'm really trying with a shovel and a little spade, and a spade and a little shovel, and I'm trying. And I'm ready to give up. And I look up and I said, for crying out loud, Sigmund, can't you give me a hand here? And I'm bending down. That rock is moving. I got that rock up. And I'm saying, you could have given me help a little earlier, but I said, he's up there laughing his head off.
While he's sipping a shot of Jaeger, like, you thought you could do this without me?
Yeah, right. That's so, I do believe that there's a lot of things between heaven and earth that we have no explanation about.
Oh, yeah,
but,
100%.
Like, especially I don't know if I told you that, but after you father passed away, it was many years, probably close to 10 years or something like that, at a rental here. And that was a little boy. His name is Elliot. He is now 13.
I know Elliot.
Yeah, you know Elliot.
Yeah.
But he was about maybe 2 or 3 years old. So I have this little cabinet, and I had a drawer in it where I had all my gift paper and everything else like that. And you know how many times I've gone in that drawer over the years. Oh, by the way, what happened is that Elliot had birthday the same day as I have.
Okay, you share a birthday.
So we share a birthday.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we do. So we were always invited, when they had a party here. They were from Russia.
I think that's universal language, or whatever they call it, mingling, the energies of the force of the universe.
Yes. Well, anyway, so I'm looking for, a little bag or something like that to put a little gift in. And I'm opening up that drawer, and on top of the drawer is a little bag, and it has a teddy bear on it, and it has a tag on it. And I'm saying, where did that come from? I haven't had anything. I haven't seen it. And how many times I go in that drawer? And it's not a big drawer. It's about this size and this.
Like a nightstand.
Yes. I think I have it in one of these over there. But anyway, so I open it up and I look at the tag. And it says, "Happy birthday, Mom. Love, Siggy." That was your father.
Yeah.
And it was on my birthday.
Uh-huh.
And I'm finding this after how many years he had passed away.
You never knew it?
I have no idea how that came in that drawer.
And this was really recent?
No, that was a few years before we moved down here.
Okay.
And when they were still renting here in the summer.
Yeah.
So it was for Alia's birthday. So I kept a little tag. But I gave the little bag with the teddy bear to him, with a gift in.
Uh-huh.
And I told another story. And he said, "Oh, don't you want to keep the bag?" I said, "No." I said, "I have the tag, and I still have that in my break phone." That is something. I mean, to find that on your day, that was your birthday, a little greeting from him, that is it had
insane.
To be.
Yeah, sign.
Had to be.
I recently canceled Netflix and I signed up for the service Guy I was telling you to get on. It tells you about the universal, the way the world works. They have videos on there about the meaning of orbs and afterlife. There's a bunch of stuff on there. Aliens, how to breathe right, meditation, different brain waves. And I go, there's something here that as humans we disconnect from because we're so caught up in the hustle and bustle 9 to 5.
Absolutely.
We forget what the universe really was. We're all slaves to this planet because we all have to work and get money to pay a living, but there's so much more to it. And when you just sit in nature and you breathe properly and you're grounded with the earth, there's signs and there's signals, but it's up to you to be able to perceive them the way you feel. You have to be
open for it.
Exactly.
You have to really be open for it. And not everybody can do it. And I do a little bit of meditation. I'm not doing too much of it because I'm not too...
in tuned.
Well, it's not that I'm not in tune.
Well,
but
you should try binaural beats. When you're wearing your headphones, it goes one frequency in here, one frequency in here, and then when it meets in your brain, the two wavelengths.
Yeah, but the thing is that my one ear is nearly all deaf, so I don't have that much hearing in that one ear as in the other one.
But
so I'm
sure it takes in the low frequency, though, the low end of the hertz, and sure it does something in there.
Yeah, but
I was telling Mike about it, too, and we were talking about binaural beats and frequencies.
Yeah. But it's funny because a lot of people seem to connect with me, which I don't understand myself.
It's your energy.
Yeah, well, that's what they say, and they said the aura around you is
it's angelic. It really is.
It
really is, though. I can't even lie. That's the straight up fact. It's angelic.
Well, anyway, I'm very happy about that people like me and accept me the way I am, and it has been few years difficult,
Yeah, it's
but
been,
then
been
again,
tough for all of
we
us.
had also, my husband and I had 57 and a half a year together.
Happy
which
married.
was, it was really, we were always together and always connected.
Always going to parties. I see all the home videos at the Legion parties, and
we
we're
went
out here with
dancing.
Tony.
We were always dancing.
I had Tony on the card too, because Tony was a huge part of it, with a picture where Grandpa and Tony with the Jeep and stuff.
Absolutely.
And hanging out.
We did a lot of traveling too, Grandpa and I. I know in younger years, people were saying, okay, how can you afford it? And that thing went black. Is that okay?
No, it's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's going. We're good.
Okay. Well, as I said, how can you do it? You should save the money and you should get yourself a house and you should do this. But we didn't go by what other people were telling us. We wanted to be happy because we never know what next day was going to bring. Mm-hmm. So one of your dad's saying used to be, he says, I don't need material things in life. He says, I only need love.
Yeah.
You can put me into one room, but if I have love, that is what's important,
And that was a huge thing that we touched on a couple weeks ago, too, because I said it, too. I was like, material things used to mean the world to me, and I used to try to buy things in order to like find happiness, but I never really found happiness in the material things. So now all I did is I have a couple shelves in my room and I got books that I enjoy reading. I highlight things in the books, but I go, really the material things don't really matter to me anymore. Like I don't really care about rocking designer clothing.
No.
I don't really care about looking the freshest or the flyest or what it is, because the love is more important than me.
It
and
is.
Like, the recognition from people. And that's why I think I strive so hard to be in the entertainment industry, whether it's podcast, music, or writing. Like I know my father loved writing, and I think that's my heart too. And I remember reading that article when we were up at the old house, and it was the newspaper article printed up, and it was like he just wanted to be a writer more than anything. And I was like, I didn't know that, because he was also a musician younger in his career, and he did the band thing and it didn't work out, but then whatever else happened,
he could pick up any instrument and he could play it, which surprised
I can't do that, but words, I love words.
Yeah, no.
But
he played when he was in lower grade school. He played the trumpet, there, and he played the guitar. He taught himself to play the guitar. Mm-hmm. And when we went down, my aunt lived in Ohio. We went there. She had like a beautiful piano.
Organ or piano,
yeah. Well, it's not really a piano, but it's like one of these, we call it Norwegian flygel. I don't know what you say, but anyway, he sat down there and he was playing, like songs on it, and my aunt was so impressed, like
it's
really.
those fingers of his. He had those long fingers that.
Well,
he could
you
do.
have the long fingers.
Yeah, but
too.
they're not coordinated as well to play the piano. Like I can't bring the pinky over here and do this little Mozart shit that he might have been able to do.
I know. Well,
but But like writing, I remember we were talking also that he wrote a couple of novels, and I said I should publish them regardless. I said I think I should, and you said you'll pull them out, we'll publish them.
I will do that because he did take the writer course,
his
and
writing
had already
was A1, and I knew that, and I think that's where I got it from. But even though I didn't get to know him to the extent that I wish I should have or could have or would have, and our time got cut short, I was like, it's just maybe embedded in the genetics. Like, I feel like if you have two parents, right? And they have different interests in the world. Yeah. Like, he might have had different interests than you and Grandpa. Yeah. So maybe I don't get that. But maybe it's embedded in his DNA that it came through to me and Heather, or vice versa, It
definitely did.
And that's how you pick up different traits, because it's not only necessarily just genetic traits, but also artistic traits, creative traits, or like mechanical. Like I can't work on a car for shit, but I could write a book, and I'm working on 6 books.
But then again, like orbs of you on your grandfather's side, there is a lot of artists. There's sculptors, there's painters. There's so in the family there is also art in there. And of course, like on, my father too, he had a master's degree in art. In both in drawing and in making stuff. Like he made when he was probably 6.
Well, he made the candle holder you gave me.
He made the candle holders and stuff, and the 2 lanterns that I have in there. Outside, and but he made, like before that, when he was like still an apprentice or something like that, he made me a pin, and it has a dove, and it has like a wreath around it, And the guy that came for the sale,
he wanted to buy it.
Well, he thought it was George Jensen, which is a famous artist in Denmark, that had that pin came from him. I said no. I said that's not for sale, because that
should have been like, hell yeah, $3,000, it's all yours, bro.
No.
Or you give me $25 right now, we'll call it even.
No, that's sentimental to me.
No, I feel that 100%.
Right.
100%.
The money wouldn't replace what he made, you know.
Oh yeah,
so,
yeah.
But no, there's a lot of stories. I could be sitting forever telling stories, you know.
I know. Well, that's really what the podcast is really just talking, like telling stories. Like even a couple of my books that I'm working on like 4 different ones. I'm working on a wrestling one. I'm working on, a financial guide. But my main ones that I'm working on is Explicit Thoughts, which is just a bunch of thoughts, random thoughts I've wrote through the world. I'm also working on one called Memory of an Elephant, which is just a bunch of old stories from my past, like things from like 3rd grade that people go, how the hell do you remember that?
Yeah. Right.
And I go, I don't know. It's just Memory of an Elephant.
That's true, and I thank God I still have a good memory.
Yeah,
I can still remember a lot of things.
Great.
Well, I can remember back to when the war started, and I was like 4 years old. And I was standing in bed, and of course it had been a lot of publicity before the war. This is the Second World War, you know. And that the war was coming or something like that. And they were shooting from the castle, and, Festningen, where that little castle is in Bergen, or the point is on Bryggen. And they were shooting because there was the ships were coming in. So the cannons, and I was standing in bed, and I said, the war is here, I said, like krigen er kommet, what did I know what that was, but because I heard it, but I can still remember myself.
Feel it though, as a kid, like you learn it at a young age.
Oh yes, yes. And
I remember you telling me a lot of stories about Bergen being bombed, and you showed me books where Bergen was bombed.
It wasn't really bombed. What it was, there was a ship in the harbor that had ammunition on the ship, and it should never have been in the harbor. And
but that kind of...
That blew up, they sabotaged it, and they blew up. And it blew up the whole half of the town. And totally, we lost everything that time, But that was also weird, because that was April the 5th, 1944. So it was a year before the war went over. So I was 8 years old, going on 8, And my mom and we were standing.
I remember you telling me stories, though, where you were running from school, though, or something.
Yeah,
what
I was doing, because my brother was already in school.
Yeah.
And my mom and we were knocked unconscious, and we had like a big, like the wall here, and it was right facing out to the street.
Okay.
And then there was a bassinet. My sister she was born in November, so she was only like a few months old, and she was in a bassinet.
Little baby.
Yes, she was there. And then there was a big double bed here, and we had like a chimney stove. We were always using coal and wood,
Stay warm, yeah.
Yeah, and so since this was in April, it was still cold, and I was getting ready to go to bed. My mother was to school, and she was braiding my hair, and we heard a funny noise like, ooh. So we were both like looking out to the window. I have no idea what that noise was. Nobody can explain it, but looking out the window, and that was it. We were knocked unconscious, and we were knocked
it was like a shock wave.
Yeah, and we were knocked like over to the other side, and
is that when the ship blew up?
The ship blew up, yes, and the whole, as I said, we were unconscious, and it was like when I came to, it was like all black soot, around me, and then the top of the stove was blown off, so we saw the flames, and like I was brought up as a Catholic, right? And I'm saying to myself, I must be either in purgatory or in hell, and I said, have I been that a bad girl that that was the first
I'm
thing.
Like 8 years old, I don't even know what sin is yet,
Right, so, and we had a dog, but we had got rid of the dog, and the dog came and was licking my mother's face, and she came to, and she was telling after that she had taught the same thing.
Yeah.
No, a lot of people got blind that day because, they wore glasses, and they were...
The glass shattered. Like just...
So I went to a Catholic school, and next to the school was a church and also a hospital. So we had to crawl out because there was nothing, there was no steps. And the first thing my mother does is to run to the bassinet because it was like if somebody took the whole knife and cut out the whole wall, you know.
Just around the bassinet.
The whole thing was all gone. We were just looking straight out, and the bassinet is like
still there,
tipping on the corner, like right on the corner there, and she's running over. And they had like one of these feather beds, you know, she had over. And she, because there was bricks and glass on top of it, and she goes like this, like she was afraid that the baby was gone underneath there. She was happy. She got a little scratch on her chin. I had a lot of splinters in my head, and like you see, a lot of scars in my face and everything. I thought that's so dirty, and my dress was ripped, and I had just a dress on. We couldn't find nothing, so we were crawling out, and I was in such a shock. I could only say, "Mama, mama, mama, mama," you know, like that.
What the fuck is going on right now? You know,
no. I just was like totally just mama, mama. So she was carrying my sister, and we came up to the street, and my father came, and he had got a whole big glass window. So he had to cut from here all the way over here. So he was bleeding and his one arm was hurting. And I'm going to him like, pick me up, like, you know, but I said, Mama. So he said, you got to listen to your mother. He goes, you got to go to school and find Harold. That's my brother.
Yeah.
That was my brother. Well, I'm going out in the street, and there's a trucks and like the German soldier and the civil force. They were loading dead bodies on it, and the blood was just streaming. I mean, like, for an 8-year-old to see this thing, I can set myself
I can't imagine.
I can set myself into situation what goes on in the world where there's war, because it's the children and the civil people that is really
That's like my new song,
worst.
All Pain, all the children around the world. And this is light, it's just coronavirus, it's a virus. But
that's right.
For the physical damage to be incorporated in with the mental abuse that you're taking on as a child.
Yes. So I was running, and I came to, you know, like halfway, you know, and there was one of these civil force. So he tried to stop me. He said, "Lady, are you lost? Are you lost?" He says, and I said, "Mama, mama, mama." So he couldn't stop me. So he figured he'll run with me. So he came with me, and I knew where I was going. So I went to the school, and when I came there, my brother's friend Tage, I still remember the name. Because my brother says, "You're late in school," he goes. They didn't know. They knew something can happen, but they had no idea
what was going on the other side of town.
That's right. So my brother said, so Tage goes and he says, "Look at her. She's bleeding. She's all dirty, you know." So my brother, being 3.5 years older than me, he took me to the hospital, which I said was right next to the school there. When I came in there, I tell you, Tyler, it's a sight I hope you ever see, because they were laying, I mean, like, people were laying body to body, all over the floor, up the steps and everything else like that, you know, like you had to step over them.
Sad.
And there used to be a nun that came in, Sister Melania was her name, and so Sister Melania she came, and she took care of me right away, and I had the big turban on my head, you know, and they trying to get anything out of me, but I just said, "Mama," you know, that's all, you know.
So mama, like, that's it.
Yeah, so my brother, we were trying to get back home again, because he said, "We have to go and find my parents," you know. So we were going back again, and we nearly came to, there was a big church, Nygårdskirken. We passed it. I told you that was where you took the bell was singing. The
when
bell.
We walked uptown, it was under construction with the bell.
And the bell.
I still have pictures of it.
Yeah. So when we came past that, and the flames were shooting out, what had happened, because there was a lot of people that worked resistance in the resistance group, so they had ammunition in their homes. So when the explosion happened, it triggered with the fires. Mm-hmm. So that's why that whole section of town was totally gone. So the soldiers were stopping us, and Sister Melania spoke German. So she says they are going to their parents. So he said, there's nobody there, everybody is evacuated away. And I said, no, and my brother says, he sneaked under the guy's arm, and he ran up to where the house had been. And he came back again. He had found one little silver teaspoon and a fork. And that was all he found that was in the house.
Yeah.
You know. But I remember when we were trying to go out, I had a big doll that my uncle had given to me. It was,
like one of those life-size dolls.
Yeah, no, this was like a long-legged one, and everything else like that. And we were sitting, so that section of the one room was like half there and half not there. And the doll was sitting on the sofa, and I can still picture myself walking by that, but, no thought about picking up anything, like that, But why I'm talking about the doll, because anyway, but we ended up going to my grandmother's house because there was nobody there, and so the police and the soldiers were saying, if you have family, go to them. And then we walked from I didn't even show you where my grandparents lived, but like half away from Bergen, between Bergen and where St. Elizabeth lives.
Yeah.
That's where my grandmother lives, and that's where the two of us were walking.
Quite a walk.
Yes, quite a walk.
It's a nice drive, so quite a walk.
Yes, it's quite a walk, but we made it. But anyway, we stayed there, and then later on my parents came. They had gone to the Red Cross, and they got some clothing there. They got a pair of shoes for my brother that was like two double the size of his foot.
Get what you can.
Hey, that was it.
See that or barefoot.
And we lived that time. My grandparents lived in a private home that was like in an attic apartment. They had a living room and a bedroom, and there was like a hallway out in the kitchen. There was a hallway, and in the end of the kitchen, at the end of the hallway, there was a kitchen, but it was just like a counter where they had like a cooking thing, two little cooking plates on, So we were 7 people.
Just up there,
living there for quite a few months until we moved.
I mean, that's like wartime, though. I mean,
that's it.
People don't realize family needed to unite at some point.
Oh yes, but what you said to unite, but we were really united in the family. We were really close. We used to go visit my grandparents every weekend. That was probably because my mom and my dad got free time.
Nowadays it's like, that cousin don't talk to me. Fuck that cousin, and that aunt and uncle disowned me. The hell with them. But at times, when it comes to times of crisis, whether it's 9/11 or war that this happened, people used to come together a lot more. And I remember Grandpa telling me a lot of stories too when he was running through the enemy lines.
Oh yes, they had to go from the east side.
Oma had Tanta Liana on her back.
That's right.
And they're running through.
What they had to do, they have to
and they
go.
Were and there was a soldiers waiting for them at the gate, what's going on? But it was a bunch of kids. But he's like, we're running through the war, getting shot at.
They were shooting over. What happened was that they were stuck on the eastern side, and they tried to go back to the west. See, during
this was still Berlin Wall times.
This was when the
Berlin Wall was still standing.
Oh yes. This was like.
East and West Germany were like 2 separate countries under the same nation.
What happened was that they were living in Hamburg, and Hamburg was being heavily bombed, from the English and the Canadian and everything. So to try to get out of the area, they were evacuated out to a farm, but it ended up that farm was on the eastern side. Closer more to the Polish side of Poland, and they were okay in the beginning until the Russian came in at the end of the war, and then they were trying to escape from there and to go back west again. and they were running through the woods because they were on the line.
She was a baby, so it was like
Well,
bassinet on the back.
they had it was Fritz and Sigmund, your grandfather, and so they had to go. They were on the line trying to get on the train, but they had to have papers to go on the train.
Yeah, where is your papers?
So, like when the soldiers was examining, they were trying to run off. So they ran off and they went into the woods. So they were shooting after them there on the east side. The soldiers were shooting after them that way. And they were going through the woods there. And they were going closer to the western side. But Uma was speaking English because she had been already here in America for a while, so she spoke pretty good English, and she was calling out then, when because they were crawling in there, and they were told to be stop,
fire going overhead, like you're just risking
everything.
your life going,
And what they had on a knapsack, they had like dried liver. They were living on dried liver and stuff like that. That's what Grandpa said. No liver for me. But they made it, and when they came across there, they were sent to a delousing camp and everything else like that, because they were full of everything, to say it that way, But they had difficult times. But and the weird part is, Grandpa and I we were born in the same year.
Yeah.
Right, and in the time that I had with my ear, that I got a bad ear infection and it was going towards my brain, I ended up in the hospital. At the same time, he was in hospital in...
the thyroid.
He had the gland.
The throat chakra and the hearing chakra, whatever the hearing chakra is.
He had it right. He had it right on the side. They thought he had the mumps, but it wasn't the mumps. It was a gland, and it was a TB. So he had tuberculosis on it, and he was operated on at the same time in Germany as I was operated on in Norway. And then I was sent, after the war, I was sent to Sweden to be fattened up, as they said, And he went to the North Sea, and he was in a rehab there. So, through the life, we matched.
You had
like
a parallel
even
universe.
Yes.
But also to be born in the same year, like not too many people get married in the same year anymore.
That's
like
right.
It's always like there's a couple year difference or a little bit of a generational gap that changes things. So when you're born the same year and you come up together and you go through the same similar struggles, the same trauma, you come out stronger.
And the funny part, when I met Grandpa in Norway, I met him actually on the Blind Date, which was through my sister-in-law, which is so funny. And my brother's wife is Mary, Svein's mother. She was English or Irish, and so she was speaking English. And Grandpa, he said, and the action going on here in town, he goes like, a sailor, right? And he was so handsome looking. So she calls me up. She set up a date for me to meet him, right? And I said, she called me up at work. I was working still at the hotel there, at Orion. We say Orion, you say Orion Hotel. And I said, first of all, I don't go on a blind date, I said. And second of all, an American sailor, forget about it. I don't want to be seen in town with that.
But he's a German, eh?
Well, no,
that's okay. He looks like a worm with braids.
She didn't know that, But so, as I said, I was brought up as a Catholic. So she tricked me because she said, where the hotel is along the pier on Bryggen, and there were ships going out there. I know there were ships there because the sailors used to come into the hotel and exchange the dollars. And so she comes there and says, "Oh, well, if you don't want to go," she said, "but I have some magazines I'm going to change with my girlfriend. She lives like on the other side, closer to Luxembourg, over there. So we walk over there, and as we are coming there, it's like one of these landing craft coming in. I said, come on, let's go over and see. And I said, no, I was so shy, like you have to drag the words off them.
Yeah.
But after kissing the brownie stone, that's my mode never stopped talking after that. But anyway, so we get over, and these two guys comes over to Mary, and one is Sigmund, and one is Frank. Frank was the other one. And I'm looking at Frank, and he has a cross, and I said, "Oh, you're Catholic, He says, "Yes." So I'm looking at the grandpa, and he had a chain, and I said, "Oh, you're Catholic too?" And he says, "Yes." So I said, "You want to go to church tomorrow?" Really a good Catholic girl, right? So he says, "Well, we got church about ship." He says, "I'll meet you after church." So I felt good. Okay, Catholic.
He's still going to take me on a date.
No, well, I said to myself, so he didn't really lie, because he was baptized Catholic, because Uma was Catholic, but Opa was not.
Uh-huh.
Okay? He was Lutheran. So your grandpa had been, so he didn't lie when he said he was, but he wasn't practicing anyway, the church anyway. But I didn't know that time. So he waits outside, and Tante Elizabeth was with me, and Frank was with him too, So we ended up going up to Fløyen and showing around, and he was talking. And I was so nervous, absolutely nervous, So I said, "Oh, you American?" So he said, "Actually," "I'm German." He says, "I was born in Germany." Well, then it was okay with me. He was European. He wasn't American, And okay, he had to say,
"You're the one for me."
Well, I didn't really think he was, but because I didn't think very much of myself, I was, I thought that he was too handsome and looked twice at me, But yes, that's where we ended up. So his joke was always, when we went down to the Legion, for example, he says, "See what I got stuck with?" He says, "I was too long time in Bergen," he says, So.
Hold on.
But
hold on one second
we
right
went,
there.
yeah.
I just want to make sure the video don't stop recording. So yeah, you went down to the Legion.
Yeah, and
look what I got stuck with. And
yeah,
then,
he got stuck with, But everybody said, "Oh, she's too good for you," So we used to have that. That was one of the traditions when we moved up here. Was that I would drop him off on Friday night.
Oh, always. I know. I remember those days of going to the
He
Legion.
would call, and then he would call, and I would come down and pick him, and everybody was joking and said, "Your chauffeur is here," But we were always together.
Yeah.
That was one thing I miss a lot.
Yeah, I think I get a lot of my sarcastic side from him. Maybe my father too, but
yeah.
As much as I didn't get to know Pop, as much as I got to know Grandpa, it's more like, I got that sarcastic asshole from you a little bit.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm just playing a joke on you. Don't take it so serious, But like,
absolutely, But we did a lot of traveling. We did a lot of hiking, and dancing. We were always dancing, always. When we came down to Legion, they would put the music on. They say, "Go on, Ronnie," and say, "Come on, we want to see you dancing," So
I know you loved his German music too, because all the vinyls you gave me, a lot of records, German drinking songs, German folk songs, German orchestra, marching music, and I'm like,
God. And
I remember when I used to sleep late, he'd throw that on at like 6 a.m. "You're sleeping late?" I'm like, "It's like 8:30. What the hell you mean late? Get up out of bed, you bum."
That's right.
"Eggs are served. Breakfast is ready." I said, "I'm not a military man. I'm only in high school and I want to sleep in on the weekends."
No way. Not in his house, When your dad go up too, your father go up there, we came up on weekends, because we bought a cabin here already in 1964. We used to go camping, and that's how we found the area. And it was really great. There was he used to work with another electrician for a contractor in Mount Vernon. And Al Glatz was his name, and they had 5 children.
Yeah.
So, your father was had always them, we were going, and we came up there at night, late, sometimes at late at night, and we were pumping up the air mattresses, and had a little fire outside by the stream there, Oh, the kids were playing in the stream. That was so fun, But,
Times were different.
And then we came up, and Lou Hollenbeck were owning this place, the whole area, the whole mountain area. He owned the whole mountain here. And there was another German guy that had done logging here before. Mm-hmm. So that's why all like the hemlocks and stuff like that they used for tanning. They had like a tanning area for it. It's very... it's known for it, Yeah. And like in Chichester, there was a big baseball factory there. They make all the baseballs,
the bats.
Bats.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bats. Yeah. And so, and the whole area, Fleischmann and Pine Hill, were known for like getting away from the city and like the rich people.
This area is still very known. A lot of renters, a lot of people just getting away from the city and trying to come up.
There used to be nothing here,
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying recent years, like a lot of people are like,
yes.
well, I want to take my kids up to do the camping experience, and the city also population expanded tenfold since 1980.
There used to be a lot of camps for people in the city.
Kids camping.
The kids camping and stuff like
just
that.
even like set up a tent, pop a tent, camp.
No, a lot of
RV camping now, and it's a lot of trailers and people coming up that got money and stuff.
That's what it is now, but that time it was,
Camping ain't
totally
camping no
different.
more. Camping now is
Hey,
hey, you got a trailer? I got an electric toilet in my camper. Like, bitch, you ever shit in a hole? You dig a hole, you shit, you bury it like a bear in the woods.
You talk about that. When we bought a cabin here, the whole thing that was dug out, a big hole with some wood planks around it and everything, the wet just went in the ground, because it was open. That was the septic we used to have.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, like, came a long way from outhouses to, like, having these, like, you can buy a portable toilet on Amazon now for $300 and holds all your crap, and you could dump it in the woods later or whatever.
Well, now the whole environment is different too, so you can't do this and you can't do that anymore. Yeah. We used to go down.
But I'm saying, they were trying to save the environment, so they got rid of paper bags because they wanted to save the trees. Then they got rid of the plastic bags because they're trying to save the sea and the dolphins and whatever. But now it's like we got masks, Corona, polluting everything, and there's more masks in the sea than there ever was paper bags because everybody wears a disposable mask.
And you see it even
there's more masks now than there is pollution with plastic bags ever, I think.
I know, and you see even
you come out of the parking lot and you're like, okay, well, what if this person was Corona contaminated? You're having your staff come pick up the mask to clean up the parking lot. There's like 400 of them in the parking lot.
I know. That's
New World Order, NWO, they came.
Yeah,
they came, they saw, they conquered.
Yeah, but...
We're just docile humans here, and we'll obey every order you obey, Master.
There's a lot of other planets up around here that is more activity going on that we know about.
There's no chance, back to the energy where we were talking about in the beginning, there's no chance in hell that we're the only existence or life in the entire...
Absolutely
not even just... galaxy, our galaxy, but the whole universe. The universe expands beyond our galaxy. We're the Milky Way galaxy, and then there's maybe thousands of hundreds. Like space could be infinite, just as the human mind.
It is,
and we don't tap into it or understand it.
I'm into some of these alien books, and nearly says, it's a sci-fi, but some of them are really interesting because they are written...
articulated.
They're written like from back in 2000 or after 2000 or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But they were written earlier, like in the 60s, 70s.
Well, no, but it... I guess whoever wrote this must have been
on an acid trip. They were on an acid trip. They were at Woodstock,
and
they were like
Well, we were
like the acid, and it was like
Woodstock too.
I talked to a Martian, and you know what he told me? In 2020, you're all gonna wear masks, and then it's gonna go to gas masks, and then your atmosphere is gonna be so toxic you have to wear this, and then we're gonna put life on Mars, and Mars will live life. And Elon Musk came in and said, "Can I make $1 trillion? I'll put you on Mars."
Well, that's the whole point, is because these aliens that are coming from other planets, they are already landing here, but they are so sophisticated and they have shields, so not the average can't.
Or they're like cloaking devices. They can blend in with nature like the Predator.
But they are accepted by the government of the United States.
Oh, yeah. Well, if the government did know, they would never tell us.
And they have deals with them.
The government said, "Look, we'll give you this, just don't wipe us out." Then we're like, "Okay, we'll let you humans rock for a while, but if you don't straighten up, that same meteor that came to wipe out the dinosaurs, we're coming for you, because we got to get rid of y'all if y'all can't get your shit together."
But the thing is, too, that most of these, even though they are by different writers, some of the books there, they're all writing and they're saying about the virus that hit the earth, that are really destroying the whole earth.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why these people are going to other planets to live,
What if humans were the virus?
Well, that could be true.
We're the virus that think we know all. We think we bit the apple of the garden, the forbidden fruit, to give us all the knowledge, when in actuality we don't know shit. Because the way I look at it is, when I was 21, I thought, when I was 17 in high school, I didn't know shit. I'm still learning. But now I know everything. Then I looked back when I was 25 and I said, well, you know what? At 21, I thought I knew everything. I still didn't know shit. Here I am at 29 going into 30, and I go, when I was 25, I thought I didn't know shit. Maybe by the time I'm 45, 50, I go, man, at 29, I didn't know shit. I thought I knew the world, and I thought all the knowledge was there, but you're always learning. Like, learning is the human condition. It's a process in which we continue to learn and evolve.
Look at me.
As individuals.
I'm 84 plus.
Still learning.
And I'm still learning.
Still learning. I know. Because we don't know. We think like, this is what I feel. You have to believe this, but you don't have to believe this, because in 10 years, I might not believe this.
That's true.
But we always want to make people feel like we're right, or we know, and this is it, and this is the all-seeing eye, and I'm in touch with the universe, when in actuality, the universe is in touch with you till the day you die, but you can never portray that or force that portrayal on another individual and tell them that you have to be Catholic, Christian, Muslim, Judas, whatever you have to be, Judaism, because we're all connected through the human species, the human race. That's why I hate when we get into like black, white, and you're racist and this, that. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. There's always a hate in the world.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, when we come together, we're all humans. We cut, we bleed the same. All the cells in our body are the same. Maybe our DNA is arranged differently, and when you have multicultural babies, they're beautiful. But we're all humans. Because if you have a dog, it can't have sex with a bear and have a bear dog. Or you can't have a fox, mate with like a falcon and have a flying fox. But when you're a human, you can see other people with different backgrounds and come together and make a beautiful being.
Well, you see,
so our DNA is compatible. So we're all human race.
Yeah.
As opposed to the rest of the races. Okay,
See, that's also one of my interests in life, is to learn about different cultures.
Oh yeah, always.
People, and I had the fortune by renting out this place, meeting a lot of people
from around the world,
all over the world. I had China, Japan, I had Taiwan, I had
Russia. Elliot, go to Elliot.
Well, not only Russia, I had several Russia, and also Eastern Europe, and Italy and France, and and I somehow connected with these people. I always went down and introduced myself, and I said, okay, like anything you want to know.
I always remember. I remember it.
Yeah, and I still have a lot of friends from all over the world.
Because of that.
Yeah, because of that. And also, when I was working for Roton, I worked as a customer service representative in marketing and sales. And I covered like all over Europe, and I covered Israel and Brazil and the Midwest of the United States and Canada. And but all over Europe and even the Scandinavian countries, and stuff like that. Before I even worked for Rotorn, I worked for Whittington Company down in, they were importing and exporting chemicals that goes in the paint industry.
Yeah.
And they also had customers from all over the world. They had salesmen that went out on the road, to like Benjamin Moore and Pittsburgh, all these different places, And
Sherwin-Williams.
I used to, yeah, absolutely. And but they used to call me, and I somehow I connected with people before I knew it. Especially for Rotorn, because I had a little bit closer connection with direct to the customers in the different countries, and it didn't bother me when they were asking me for if I could talk to the engineer and stuff like that. I would go out of my way just to satisfy a customer.
Of course.
And when I went on vacation, they were also happy when I came back again, because none of the girls, they said, we can't understand the way they are speaking. I said, come on, they speak better English than you do,
Always.
But
that's the beauty of connection, and the beauty of also the English language has always been dominant since the time of the Pope, probably before Jesus. There's been this one world thing, putting English into the nations, and whether they wanted to abide by it or not is a different story, but everybody knows it. For the most part, it's the universal language. Because even when we go to Norway, I'm like, well, are they going to understand me? And you're like, all the waitresses speak English.
Yeah, everybody speaks English.
And I'm like, I might not be able to talk to them about this, that, the third, and how you was your vacation. And then, you ever been to Guatemala? Da, da, da. But if I'm like, hey, can I get a cheeseburger, medium rare? They know those words,
They
universally.
Know. They actually, it's a mandatory.
Whale burger, or beer, or whatever. But I'm saying, there's a lot to the English language. There's words in the English dictionary that I don't know.
No, I know.
And I watched a movie that was on Netflix recently, and they were pretty much breaking down the English dictionary. And the one guy, he was going through and he's doing all the English things from the beginning of time, and they wanted to put together the first English dictionary. I can't think of the name of the movie, but it's on Netflix. And they're telling him it's taking him too long, 4 or 5 years, but he's trying to find every origin to every word. And some of these words, I'd look up. You could read a dictionary, open it right now, and find a word just on a random page and go, I don't know what the hell that means, but it's part of the English language. So there's a lot, even when you're a native born, raised English speaker, that you do not know. That's why life is ever learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're forever learning.
Absolutely. And I did have interest in languages, and it's what the grandpa was saying. If
no, you're good. I'm just making sure.
I don't know if you said when, or he told you, but that was one of his things, that he was proud to be German.
Yeah, always. Yeah, he was.
And he says that years ago, I guess, when the vote was, if there had been just a few more votes, America would have been speaking German instead of English.
Yeah.
I don't know how that came across, but that was one. Yeah, it was German. He was, But
because Germany was trying to be the superpower of the world, so they were trying to take over anyway, though.
Yeah, but that was the same thing as Napoleon tried to do the same thing, But
same thing with Caesar in Rome too.
Absolutely, But that is always this one crazy guy.
Always, Hitler was that crazy guy, but then you had Caesar, you had Napoleon. The Mongols, which was I can't think of their name, but the conquerors.
Yeah.
And that brings back to even conquistadors, Spain set out to conquer the New World, which would have been America, South America, and everything like that. And that's actually
that's what it is,
Columbus went out for Spain.
Absolutely.
It wasn't like he was, but we get the differentiation from between there's Spain and then there's Spanish, there's Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Ecuadorians, there's
Mexican.
You know,
everything.
there's Western world,
yes,
Spanish, and then there's Eastern Spain, which is like European Spain.
Brazil, I think.
Which is still considered a European nation, Spain.
I think Brazil is
but
more like that.
But Spain also went there and conquered that, and that's why it's a Spanish language. So it's like the whole world just needs to come together, get their head out their ass, and realize that there's always going to be that one crazy bastard that tries to conquer the world.
I know.
But it's a matter of, can we just come together as people and sit down and negotiate and realize, like, hey, look, we're the same?
Well, I do respect the American Indians.
Me
that
too.
is one of mine that I really...
That's like my favorite painting in the world right there.
I know.
Right there.
That's one of my grandpa and I, we both admire them. And we maybe followed a little bit of their...
I truly believe they were the most peaceful beings, and that they got shit on by the conquerors who came here to conquer them.
Oh, they definitely did.
You know what I mean? And that's why they put them on reservations, which is a shitty thing to do. Yeah. We'll give you this little land, and we won't tax you or whatever, but we're going to take over everything else, which was an asshole move.
They used to war too between each other, you
know. Of course, but you're here.
It was for survival, you know.
But also, I do think there was a thing when it was also Spain was the ones that came over, the Pilgrims. So they came over to conquer the Indians, and whether they sat down to have that Thanksgiving feast that we like to celebrate every year or not, whether it was more violent than that, like, we're not there in history to be able to relive it. There was no video cameras. There might have been notebooks written. Word of mouth.
That's it.
And the thing is, maybe they did give us a good meal. They sat you down, they gave us a good meal, and then maybe we did go and kill them. Or whoever, not we,
them,
but the people who were trying to conquer, you know, they did kill them, and they did some little knife in the back bullshit, and they probably did, because aside from the Comanches, who were one of the most violent tribes of the Native Americans, most of the tribes historically were always peace, and they were within one, and that's why you have the nations like the Onondaga Nation, the Iroquois, you know, the Sequoias, and the, you know, they have tribes in New York State, and I can't pretend to know them all.
No.
But I went to a museum one day, and they explained, like, the tribal lineage, the sign, and how they were all together. It was like the 5 or 6 tribes.
Well, you know, in this area, there was the Funny
in New York.
No, in this area here was the Funny Kayas. And it was funny because when my father, that's your great-grandfather, was over here, he was 83 years old. And he said, come on, let's take a walk up in the back here. You know, we walked up in the mountain in the back here. And we came up, and there was like a little bit of an opening, and it's a log laying down there. So he said, come on, sit down. So he says to me, he says, what do you hear? And what do you see? And what do you hear? And I said, I hear nothing. He says, listen. I said, I hear nothing. That's peace, he goes. He says, look around, what do you see? I see the sun coming through the leaves, I said. That's God, he goes. So he says, no, who do you think have been walking here before you? I don't know, I said.
Natives.
He says, the native Indians, the Phoenicians. So I said, there's no Phoenicia. He says, you say it Phoenicia.
Yeah.
But it is the Phoenicia was the tribe
of the Phoenicians.
Of the Phoenician.
And he says, we read about it in ancient texts too, Phoenicians, but like Egyptian Phoenicians are like maybe
That's right.
European.
And he said, respect the earth, he says, you are treading on their grounds, you know, and respect it. And I always think about that. He was 83 years old, and he had that, and he was telling, and says, we were running up and down. We never sat down, and we had the time to think and appreciate it. But always. After he taught me that, I always think about it.
Well, we have lost a lot of that, though, appreciation with food, and we used to say grace. Like, we say grace like around like Christmas, Thanksgiving, and stuff like, thank you, Lord, for the food, bless this food, blah, blah, blah. We give the whole spiel. But one thing I've heard through folklore is that the natives always prayed, or I don't know if the term is pray necessarily, maybe that's just our way of saying pray, but they spoke to their prey.
Yes.
And they whispered in the ear of the dying deer before they did whatever.
Thanking them.
Like, thank you for feeding me.
That's right.
Thank you for giving me this. Thank you for helping bring this back to my tribe. Whatever they did, it was a spiritual mentality that they had that we have lost over time.
That's so true.
And as much as we might do it holidays or special occasions, it should be done at every meal because we've strayed from humans, from the hunters and gatherers.
Well, we used to
We've become gluttons.
I grew up that way, that we always said thank you, grace before.
Yeah.
We ate, and then we said a little grace after, thank for the food.
But we're so easy to get food now. You go in the supermarket, I got a chicken, it's already been slayed, fry it up, cook it up, barbecue it, whatever.
I know.
We've strayed from the hunting and gathering days where you might go 3-4 days without eating before you catch a meal. Mm-hmm. You catch the meal, thank you for this meal because now I'm going to be able to nourish me and my family.
Well, that's it.
And as Americans and as a people, as a culture, we've gotten lazy. And yeah, that's right, Americans. You're lazy. I'm lazy. Don't front. I go to Burger King, hit that drive-thru real quick, and I just scoff the thing, drink my chocolate shake. But we forgot what it's like to get real organic food, the real hard way, the gardening, the go out, pick your own berries. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're worried about pesticides? Well, grow a berry tree and pick them yourself. Or, oh, you're worried about GMOs? Then go hunt a deer and go hunt. Oh, well, I don't have the heart to kill anything because I've always been the same way. I don't have the heart to kill anything.
Yes.
But I'm telling you what, if I am starving and I am dying and the government shut down all stores, I would go hunt and I would do just what the natives did, and I'd pray to that deer and I go, thank you for feeding me and my family. We're having venison tonight.
Yes.
And it's a different experience. It's a different cultural shock to someone who's never done it.
It is, and we are spoiled. In one way, I feel, it's a shame.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, like, I went back again to Norway there, like, maybe the first time after I've been over here for a few years, and things had changed, of course, and my cousin says to me, and I said to myself, I said to my cousins and also to myself, oh, I hate it. I wish it was the way it was.
Used to be.
The way it, when I left, know. And my cousin says to me, well, do you want us to be backwards in time, to stand still in time?
Yeah, like sometimes, maybe.
Well, but the thing was that when Grandpa and I, we went Oma and Opa, we went back to Germany after the wall was down. Mm-hmm. And it was like if you walked 50 years back in time.
Yeah.
Everything was at a standstill for that time that the East had been
almost
occupied.
Almost a culture shock.
By the West. You went from West, where everything was like big and you go to supermarkets and everything. Mm-hmm. You went to the East.
It was like hunt your own food.
Barely had
little butcher market on the corner.
A butcher market on the corner, or there was like since this was inland, there was one of these vans that came with the fish on once a week, something like that. There was hardly any markets or anything else like that. It was so poor and it was so
beaten down,
unbelievable.
Like they're trying to recover.
And Grandpa and I, we went back to where they were living, and he found where they had lived, and he found the faucets, like where they had the hoses outside for the washrooms and everything else. Everything was just like if you went 50 years back in time. It was on a standstill. It was unbelievable. So I didn't really appreciate that either, because you're thinking about these people that have been living in this conditions over these years.
It's still like it's like almost like an American like Republican Democrat bullshit. Like, we want to give you this, we want to give you this, but we want to take this, we want to take that, and it's the same thing over there. It was a political thing. We knocked down the wall, but we dominated, and we ain't giving you shit now. Left versus right.
That's right.
East versus west, whatever.
It ended up to be that like people that was a little bit up in the age, they wished that the Russian would come back again and take care of them, because at least they got hospital care. Something. And there was no crimes.
We're gonna let you suffer for the next 20 years because it's all politics. And you wanted to shit on us, and now we're equal. But you know what? We're gonna give you this bit of equality, the less equal. Like, it's still like a.
I know.
It's still a systemic issue at hand.
Yes,
Not racism because it was one culture necessarily per se, but a systemic oppression of
Absolutely.
you're the losers and we're the winners and we always feel that way and we always had the money.
Well, one thing I got to say though, I'm really happy to be able that I can live down here, you know. And,
for sure.
And you know, we had much more opportunity in America than we would have had at
anywhere over there.
Our time in
That's why everybody
Europe.
comes to America, though.
Yeah.
As much as people want to shit on America, hate on America, that's why the world comes to America, because the Statue of Liberty, give us your weak, give us your poor, give us your tired. And guess what? Anybody here, you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. What? Difference is, nobody got the balls to leave or the money to leave because they ain't got money to buy their way into another nation. And the other nations don't want you. And if you want to go back to your home country because you feel that's what you are, like I'm a German, I want to go to Germany. I hate America. I hate Donald Trump. I'm gonna go to Germany. Germany don't want my ass, and I gotta pay them $20,000 to get in. So I think I'll stay here.
The funny part is that Grandpa didn't want to go to Germany, but he wanted to go to Norway.
Yeah, but I'm saying in general, like they make you pay to leave here to get into there. If you go, I wanted to move to Australia at one point. And I looked it up, and it was like $25,000 or $30,000. This is like 15 years ago because I was Steve Irwin. I was a huge Steve Irwin fan. I was like, I would love Australia. $20,000, and they don't want you unless you pay it. They don't want. But at the same time, it's like you go there, you follow their laws. Like there's people from Australia coming here because they want to get away from those laws. So no matter where you go in the world, there's something that you're gonna dislike, something that you're not gonna agree with. But you have to make ends meet, and you got to just work with what you have. Yeah. Before we wrap it up, I think we're going a little on an hour, or maybe even over an hour. I don't even know how long we've been going. What have we been going for? Going for a little over an hour here. I want to wrap it up with the fishing story. The fishing story when I went fishing with Pop.
Before he passed away.
Yeah, when he took me fishing for the first time, and I remember him going into the store and showing me like salmon eggs and saying, you know, like these are great bait. And we went out, and then the thing got snagged, and you had to go out into the water.
Well, I was so worried that he was going to slip because he was
very frail at the time.
He wasn't frail. He was big.
He was tall, but he was still skinny, and he was getting there. And chemo and
the chemo was that blew him up and made him so
blew him up more like a balloon. I remember looking at pictures though, and I remember him being skinny, and I remember like sitting over there in the cabin with him, and I remember him just telling me on a couple times like, all right, champ, I'm gonna take 5. Like he would wake up from a nap, we'd maybe watch a movie, build some clay figures, whatever, carve something out of a stick, he'd cook a meal, and then he'd be like, I gotta take 5 again because I knew it was draining the life out of him.
But then I had to go into the water. Yes, oh my God,
because the fishing hook got, and she's like, you're not going, Ziggy.
No, I know.
I'll do it. Yeah. And I was young, so I was like 4th grade, and I was like, I would get swept away in the currents.
Yeah, I know you would.
Well, I might not have, but you would definitely worry that I would. I probably could have did it, but I mean, he was like, I'm not.
No,
letting him
you
do
know,
it.
there's a pretty strong current.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
There, you know,
I know.
Because,
but I was always in the creeks, and I was always like holding on to rocks, like in the currents, and letting my body go like this, like a little crayfish.
I know
and
you did the same thing
rocks,
as your father had done when he was a kid.
But you were like, I got it. I'll go out. I'll get it.
Yeah.
Off the rock. You know.
Yeah. But we used to go and sit right in the stream.
Oh yeah.
And
we used to go. I went down there a couple times with Donna and the boys and Jessica. And
but you know, like when your father was young, you know, and even when Heather was little too, we used to go down there, and they had built up the dam, you know, so. They were jumping from that big flat rock and right into the water, you know. That was like the. But we used to go.
I still walk down here. I walked down here with Beth one time, and she was like, I showed her, and she's like, wow, this is a beautiful spot. And I was like, you never really been here? I was like, me and my sister used to come down here, crack open like twisted teas and just
absolutely, you know,
sip them. Or Arnold Palmer's, like half and half iced tea lemonade, but they were hard. And I was like, we just sit here, Budweiser 6-pack, just sit here.
But we was a group here. There was Tony and his girlfriends, and there was Lenny and Gita, and Joan and Arthur Godfrey that lived over there, and Maddie and Marie there, and we went, and Grandpa and I, and we would all meet down by the stream.
Oh yeah.
And we
It's a beautiful stream down here, though.
We had these coolers with us.
Yeah.
You know, the guys had beers, and we were sitting there the whole day. We would be the whole day.
Well, I remember Grandpa taking me fishing here though, and then taking me there too. Like Grandpa
never left
garbage. Well, that's the tourists. The tourists, the city people. They're like, we throw our shit in the street.
Shame because it's such a beautiful area.
It is, but what I do love about it most now is that not many people come to this area.
Yeah.
So they're like more down there, or like even by like the by the Phoenicia Diner.
Yeah.
Like they're all down there, excuse me. So they're not up here as much. So when I go down there, there's very not much trash, and it's a lot of overgrown by weeds now.
Yes, it is very overgrown.
I still know how to get over there, maneuver, and I sit on those rocks, and I'm just like,
you know what?
Me and Heather used to sit here and just tell stories.
I used to go across the stream. There was a big flat rock there.
Yeah,
there's
sit
like
on
a
that
waterfall.
Right,
I used to lay there. And
sunbathe.
And and I closed my eyes and you could hear the tickle of the water.
Oh, yeah.
And when I opened up my eyes, right across before they had to build the houses there was a whole field, and it was full of like wildflowers. So I'm looking, I said, I'm in heaven. I said, you know, because you see the blue sky with a couple of dots, and you saw just all the flowers.
That's a nice little
and then
paradise.
the trickle from that was my. That was what you call it, where you go to not meditate,
like your Zen zone.
Yeah,
focus back home, Zen.
Yeah, to drift away from all problems. That was it, you know.
100%.
Like, oh my God.
Well, I love that area down there, and
so
I still do it. Like I can still go down there and lay, and like maybe when I was like 10 years old, I'd see a spider.
Yeah.
Or a big spider. Now I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, yeah, come and bite me, bitch. I don't give a shit. I'm just like, this is my Zen zone, and I'm like, I know you ain't gonna bite me because I know my sister's with me right now.
That was our
Zen zone, yeah.
Zen zone, yeah.
But like, I just lay down there now, and I'm just like, I remember like there's a lot of crazy insects that crawl out from under those rocks that you might not see like having a regular backyard, because these are creatures that are in nature and they're not like in your backyard. They're by the water, or they're water bugs. And I'm just like, I'm like this. I look over at him now. I'm like, what's up, dude? If you bite me and poison me right now, well, I'd rather die right here. So if you're a scorpion and you're coming out and you're going to sting me, you better do it right now, because I can die here happily.
This is happy,
But I still go to, and even when I was down there with Beth, I was just like, the spot hasn't changed. She was like, you and your sister used to come down here. I said, all the time.
Yes.
And I go, now it's been a long time since I went down there by myself, but that's why I went down with her.
It's not the same,
it's not the same because of the person's spirit isn't there in physical form, but it's the same as I could go there and feel them in the spiritual realm, where I know she's with me or whoever's with me. But I remember going down there fishing with Grandpa too.
Yes.
A lot of other things and a lot of great memories in this area. And,
well, I'm very happy that we by error found this little place. It's
a little safe haven.
We had been up to Grand Gorge.
I've tried to bring a lot of friends up here through the years, and I'll get up, or I try, and I go, you really don't know what the fuck you're missing.
No.
I've tried to bring girlfriends up, and they're like, oh, it's a little bit of far drive. And I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're missing. But when I brought Erica up here, she enjoyed her 30th birthday. We had the hell of a time, even though we didn't get to go snow tubing. We had the hot tub out there, and then we had nature, and then when she came down. That was the second time she came down, because you were in Florida last year. But when she came down the first time, when you were here, and we went for the town of Tinker Tubing before they closed, we were riding those rapids, almost drowning, almost hit my head on a rock. We were like, let's walk back upstream and do it again. And we went back upstream and did it again. It was the time of her life. She's like, I gotta come back, bro. And that's why she came back in the winter. And she enjoyed it. And I'm like, I'm really happy you got to enjoy this with me, because I've known her for over 10 years since I dated my ex-girlfriend Steph that I took to prom, you know, and we've been good friends. And I go, I'm glad one friend at least got to come up and experience this with me, because I've told dozens of friends, and it's always, oh, it's too far a drive, it's this, it's that, excuses, but you're not living your life to the fullest. And this area is so beautiful, so much going on here. And I'm glad she got to experience it with me, and I'm glad you got to meet her, because she really loved you. And that's why she was like, I hope we did good. And you were like, Bonnie said the house was spotless. Erica and Patrick, her brother, made sure the place was clean. And they enjoyed it. But thank you for coming on. It's been about an hour. We got a lot of stories in. The video stopped, but
that's good.
It's all right. I will just put a little tagline over here. But we're going to do the close off the video, cut off out of here. But, you know, we're going to do this.
Okay.
And just do a...
Love you.
I love you too. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you very much.
It must have only cut off like the last 5 minutes or so, or maybe I wasn't paying attention. But I'll just put the little cover cap on there and show business. You know, some things happen.
Thanks a lot.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Episode 13. Our time is now. Happy New Year!
Yeah, Happy New Year
from the ARPs. And we'll be back for more, baby. This is just the beginning, man. We're just starting out. First year podcast, first year of many things to come. We are going to keep growing, expanding spiritually, mentally, creatively, whatever it is. The universe is ours, baby. Thanks, Grandma.
Thank you, sweetheart. Okay.
Love you again. Have a good one, folks.
Thank you.